really difficult to deal with after they get Thunderbelt, scales, and purely plays as a raw, annoying tank. But at least Khalid has some lane dominance to him. Gatot, on the other hand, a little bit slower, very clutch moments, and extra resilience is what makes him good.
Plenty of AoE crowd control that could be a pain for some of the SRG heroes to deal with. Right? You couple that with Jushin, that is plenty of CC in these close quarter fights. So Moskov would be the choice for SRG, another
very
hero. There's mobility taken away from the pool.
Yeah, no, this is incredibly smart here because again, SRG, the fact that they're banning both the Claw and specifically Natan as well, both gold laners of Moskov as well as Natan do pretty decent against the Khalid. The biggest problem is the quicksand guard, and if you don't have any CC inbuilt into your kit, you're hoping that somebody else breaks him out of the guard.
So the second option could potentially be a carry, right? You just shred through the Khalid. But with what SRG has right now, the carry doesn't really have much space to function in these fights.
I think you don't have a choice and you have to go for Harith here.
Yeah.
You need something that's going to scale. Yes, it's a little unfortunate that you're doubling down on the magic damage. You would much rather a wider spread, but you have no choice.
Let's see, MV, what's going to be the option? So yeah, you call it the Harith and the Terizla. So we do get a Gatot roam for MV. Not confident enough to put the Gatot in the XP lane, not seeing that that last pick for SRG, right?
I think, oh, this one's interesting because
Glue
now
again?
They could go Glue again. I feel like Khalid roam is probably the better option, and then you play X-Borg.
What about the Grok?
Grok is okay. Against the Terizla. I mean, I guess unless you are purely just using it to clear waves. Oh, Arla's actually not a bad shout. They both kind of do the same thing here. I think that Khalid going into support and then picking up Arla isn't a bad idea because at the end of the day, you're just trying to synergize with the RWM.
See, SRG, what's the plan going to be? I feel like they do have the entry-level setup, so they're going to go back straight to the high loss, right? Keeping it for the very last pick.
All right.
It's going to be a high loss roam, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, high loss roam.
Yep. All right. Makes sense. So they want Khalid to win out his lane in the earlier stages. Terizla recently got nerfed, so it's not as easy for him to deal with Khalid like it used to be. But at the very least, that means that Cram is going to have some form of lane pressure. And I'm interested to see how Envy is going to keep him isolated in that box. And one of the ways that they could do that, defend from early invades, instantly go and proxy the enemy lane.
And I want to see how fast the Suyo jungling experience is, right? Like between, if Nolan is the fastest, where does Suyo stand? And that's what I want to find out.
Probably on par with Hayabusa. Maybe slightly faster than Hayabusa, not as quick as Ling.
It's pretty good. Not that shabby. Let's find out then. Game number 1 in the series to open up week number 6. We got Monster Vicious on the blue side, Selangor Red Giants on the red.
All right, let's jump right into this here. The first time we are seeing Suyo available in competitive play here in MPL MY, going to be brought ahead by Uni. Now we know Uni as the assassin, the go-to assassin player when we're talking amongst the local best. Even Sakai's, I wouldn't have been surprised if SRG were on blue side to pick Suyo first pick.
Yeah, I would figure that that's going to be the case, right? It's either the team realize that, okay, he's manageable, or team realizes, okay, he's too much and then we have to ban it. But I'm looking at Cram to leave that lane faster than Zeno. Has the mobility, has the insane wave play, and with Yun showing up, Zeno will have to use the flicker.
Nicely done. Getting rid of that flicker early on means that he's not going to have it for the upcoming turtle later down the line. In the meantime here, we didn't get to see much of the opening. I don't know if Cram tried to level 1, check the bush, check the buff, just to see where the enemy jungler started before he headed back into the lane. But with Lethal Wanderer in the hands of MV, we are expecting Uni to hit level 4 on time. Problem is he doesn't even need that level 4. That's why you can see that Innocent is standing really far back, expecting a gank to come through.
Marti taking that opportunity to go for that recall. I mean, the recent changes to Zushin allows her to just clear minion waves without having to expend mana, which has been a pain point for this hero on release. But with the amount of pressure that SRG is bringing to that mid side, this wave is never going to be in his favor. Yeah,
also notice that Martisi has opted to go for common emblems as well, right? Yes, they have kind of changed the way her mana quote-unquote works, but it still suffices, right? It speeds up the process to be able to lift your opponents and chuck them again, especially if they're like 2 ticks away before the butterfly emblem pops up.
Gotta be able to stick onto them like glue. Especially one of the ways to do with Jushin is just have mobility, right? Be able to dash around and delay the stacks as much as possible. Nova will eat up the mid wave to try and get close to level 4. Martisi starts applying some pressure onto Cram, but no, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, and honestly, Cram doesn't mind this, right? He knows he's not going to die for certain. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't use his Quicksand Guard too early or waste his Raging Sandstorm. In the meantime, you can see that both MV and Slango Red Giants, both junglers are looking to hit level 5. It's obvious that MV, unfortunately, since Suyo started on the opposite side of the map, that his orange buff comes up first in comparison to Sakai's, who started on his purple and then cleared his orange after skipping Litho to make sure that he has tempo on him.
So SRG will try to draw this out as possible, right? They want Sakai to get that purple first. MV, they do have their ultimates available. So it's a battle of attrition. Who's going to strike first? MV goes for the penalty zone to allow Uni to get the turtle. SRG will not contest.
All right, this is where they try to look for a gank on the bottom side of the map, right? You can see that Sakai's is heading in that direction, but you can see that Monster Vicious is utilizing the extra movement speed that you get after taking down the turtle to transverse this side of the map to ensure coverage.
Even finds Sakai's. So that's a lot of information gathered from Monster Vicious. Very good read on what SRG wanted to do, but Sakai did get the bottom side camp.
That's just one camp. It's not the biggest deal in the world for Yuri, who's currently at level 7, right? He's doing the exact same rotations, but there's not a lot of information on how fast he's doing it. Yums is catching just the edge of his screen, seeing Uni kind of walk by, but that's not really enough, right? Because now Zeno is in a position where this lane is pretty much unwinnable for him.
Cram would just hold him hostage, you clear the wave, and now you get to start moving. Find opportunities around the map that Monster Vicious so far are not really giving to SRG.
And the worst part about this Khalid versus Terizla matchup is that now the Khalid naturally builds into Thunderbelt, into Dominance Ice. It's pretty impossible for Zeno to realistically beat him in a 1v1.
The more you try to fight him, the stronger you make him.
Exactly. And there's nothing much you can really do about it. It's not like he's built around mobility. He's built around engage and sustain. And Cram, he can just basically farm off of him.
Even bringing Martisi is not going to change anything. Cram is going to eat it, right?
He's too fast. Oh no, you're going to pull me back. What are you going to do?
Quicksand
Guard. he's maxed out and he's like, Quicksand Guard right in their faces.
There it is.
Look at how much health he's going to get back. He honestly has nothing to worry about. I think the main win condition right now for MV is to look to attack Stormy in that mid lane if he overextends and maybe scale up Ruff a little bit quicker.
So that's at least the second visit from Martisi. Uni shows up top side, barely does much. You crash the wave, sure, but Prime is just going to clear it again. So a lot of focus from MV on the top side, and this could open up Ruff and able to kind of dash away in time. So second turtle should go over to MV.
Yeah, but shouldn't be an issue here. Sakai's is going to head on over there, but he's not going to have much energy.
Oh, the predicted penalty zone still just enough to allow Uni to get the turtle. Nothing much is lost for MV.
I'll tell you now, Skies has some real balls there because he's jumping in with 0 energy. It's not like he can Tempest the Blade out of there. He needs to get 2 auto attacks in when he does so. Here's the GOA. At the very least, the Guardian of the Avatar doesn't really connect, but Tier 1 bot side should fall.
Opens up opportunity for Ruff. Glorious pathway, dropped by Yums. Here comes Sakai. He shows up. That's backline. 4 units exposed. They will control him with the taunt. Now he's going to jump up into the air. Tempest the Blaze, followed by a Spear of Destruction from Innocent. Sakai trying to survive against Ruff. Dashes to the side. Ruff flickers, gets the kill, but now will be taken out. Martisi will trade Ruff back, but the RWM follow-up will keep Martisi in place for a little while. SRG walks away with 2 kills.
Now Ruff is probably thinking to himself, I regret taking Flicker right now. Really regret, because honestly, there's not a lot of counterplay when Cram flickers on top of you with a Raging Sandstorm. There's not much you can do about that, but at the very least, Ruff does walk away with a singular kill and as well as an assist, having an EXP lead and a gold lead against Innocent.
Yeah, 2 tier 1s down, especially the mid one. Very, very crucial for Monster Vicious to open up a map. So this early game looking fairly comfortable for MV.
It's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. It's looking really, really good. They forced Slango Red Giants to play very linearly, mainly because of their man-to-man defense at this point of time. But I don't think Sakai's is going to get creative with this clearing path just yet. They're probably waiting for him to get second item before he gets confident.
He's 2 levels behind Uni, so he needs time. He needs time and space. All the crowd control that NV have. I mean, Sakai's, we saw he uses the Tempest of Blaze, gets control for 3 seconds minimum afterwards. And Martisi just uses the ultimate to try to grab Stormy, even flickers forward into a penalty zone by Zeno. And SRG now forced to fight. They dive the back line, look for Martisi. But Martizi gets away from Sakai's, and Uni with the ambush takes them down. That's a double kill for the Suyo. MV picking the right fights.
And now we're seeing individual mistakes being made by SRG's side. Really nicely done by Martizi there. An overextension by Stormy. I think at that point he might have considered dropping the RWM, but it's too late now. Monster Vicious not going to let him come back to life before they take away the final neutral objective before we see Lord spawns.
Very solid beginning from MV, 7.5 minutes in almost. All 3 turtles, 4 kills, and a 3.5k goal lead over SRG.
Woo! Biggest lead we've seen so far in a while. Let's see if they can actually get to the 5k mark here. Most teams don't usually make it, but considering that MV has been snowballing this out of control, I think that Slango Red Giants are going to have to play on the back foot. And usually when we see them play on the back foot,
Look too good, it got him. As Martizi with the secure, now Stormy needs to run. Doesn't have flicker. They pull him back. Martizi with the all RWM, forced to drop out. Can he get a trade though? The Gatakacha on top of Stormy, but a dive from Cram to the back gets rid of Martizi. Nova Escobar could not get the secure on the Stormy, and Cram will start walking away. SRG finds a trade.
Woo! MV, they've done some serious homework. This was all a planned gang. They saw the Moskov, they saw Innocent walk to the top side of the map. They knew Sakai's was playing Ling, and his natural habit is to go on the opposite side, which would have been bottom. So MV, from start to finish, they prepared for this match, and it's clear with their set plays.
So SRG would be forced to slow down by a whole lot, especially Sakai's, who is not exactly having the best of time. And Ruffin with this matchup is having the best time of his life.
Use it.
They had to use it, right? The Cyclone Knife, follow up with a penalty zone. Cram still gets hammered by Zeno anyways. MV finding another kill on the bottom side as Sakai is going down. SRG will at least need to get Nova Escobar, but it's a worthy trade for MV.
Dude, that's crazy. It's crazy because Cram thought his flicker was less valuable than his ult. So he flickers first and then uses the Raging Sandstorm and not the other way around. Either way, he would have died regardless. But still.
Wow, full control for MV. 4.5k, we're about to breach the 5,000 mark in just a little bit. And with Lord coming up, SRG doesn't even have, I would say, an opportunity to contest, right?
Nope, they really don't.
3 levels ahead.
It's tough. It's tough matches, right? They made sure that they at least had 2 winning lanes. And those lanes are Ruff and Martizi. And Martizi has been doing a phenomenal job right now.
How is SRG going to turn this around? It seems like an attempt is being considered, but Martizi is just being a brick wall. Not to mention that Zeno has the opportunity to jump in and drop the RWM, a force sprite from SRG that Monster Vicious will gladly take. Yums just draws Uni away with the glorious pathway, but he still goes down. At the end of that, SRG were not able to get anything in return.
Nah, couldn't even kill Martizi. Zeno is way too tanky at this point of time, and Skies is too far behind. He hasn't even completed his Haas claws yet, so he can't sustain through the raw damage. With that being said, Monster Vicious, they understand SRG's composition. Cram is there for a distraction. Even Ling, as long as he doesn't get his 3 items, we can manage. Same goes for Innocent. Our biggest problem in these team fights is going to be Stormy, and that's why you see Martizi is positioning himself very far to the left-hand side just to make sure that when the RWM does drop down, he is just picking up and throwing Stormy back down to stop the overall DPS.
That and also Nova Escobar, who can easily just go for the Avatar of the Guardian on top of Yeef. So 5k goal lead with a Lord in tow. SRG will have to be on full defense mode.
It's really not easy here, especially if you're in SRG shoes. I think the game only really starts for you when you hit the 42k mark. I want to say 33, but even so, look at that damage from Stormy.
Uni tries to go for the assassination, but he had to pay with his life. So there's a minor shutdown. In fact, that's a 1.5k goal swing for SRG. Woof. Nasty stuff.
Yeah, it just goes to show, farming all the time may not necessarily be the best play, but in Uni's case, that's a huge shutdown. Stormy recovers a little bit economically, but it's still a tough fight.
Less Sakai's. Give Sakai some space, they clear up the Lord, they protect most of the structures. Sure, they lost the side lane tier 2s, but SRG finds himself back in the game step by step, and Sakai now gets to claim his own purple buff. And Monster Vicious will have to reconsider, right? I mean, again, we saw the minuscule health power of Uni. He might be strong, but he ain't durable.
But now look at this, right? they're targeting specifically Sakai's. They're not even bothering to go to the top side of the map where they're expecting 4 there. They know that Sakai's Finch Voice is currently on cooldown, but they need to make him use it. They need to see him traversing the map. They need to know for sure that he doesn't have it before they engage.
And Sakai's makes the adjustment, pushes the wave, recalls, make the wave the bare minimum, make it neutral, so that MV won't have to kind of go too far to catch him. And if MV pushes that wave in, SRG collects the farm. We've got less than a minute before the next Lord spawns on the top side.
That's perfect, that's perfect. We have 50 seconds to talk about this current setup that Uni has right now, right? He's going for Impure Rage, 3-2-1, 3-2-1, opts to go first item Hunter Strike, second item War Axe, third item Blee OD. He's not going for the typical build where you go War Cry, and then maybe build a more fightery style while still having some decent burst. His main objective, go in, blow somebody up, get out.
When you reach below 50% health, that's where you disappear, right? The Soul Severed, 20% missing health. BOD, below 50% health, extra damage. Impure Rage, percentage damage. It's just a full package from MV.
He can basically 100-0 even some of these tanks, but again, with that Maleficor, he should be able to do it, but Cram is not making it easy.
He'll be stunned up by the Blade Surge, but again, no catch-up for now. Cram just buying time. That is a lot of windfall that SRG would have really appreciate.
The biggest problem that MV is facing right now is that they can't keep up with SRG when it comes down to wave clear. They can, because at least for SRG, they can attack multiple sides of the map and rotate back for these neutral objectives. Monster Vicious, on the other hand, really take their time to chase their opponents down and win the war of attrition.
Sakai's thought about clearing the bottom wave, but he didn't show up on the map, so MV has no idea where he is. Yums just gonna use the ultimate. Cram jumps on top of 2 of them, and now everyone presses that ultimate button, but with rough gone, Zeno will try to get Innocent, but gets pinned to the wall. Innocent still gets killed off, but SRG have already taken out 2 members on the side of MV. No Escobar being a third. The Lord knocks out Cram, but Tempest of Blaze follow up. Sakai's holding it for the final moment. 4 from Monster Vicious, 4, and SRG will look to claim the Lord.
Tempo breaker from SRG to even out the lead, 41 to 42,000, and they're not done yet. They find one more, wiping out Monster Vicious.
Completely tipping the scales of this game. Monster Vicious amassed close to a 5,000 goal lead, the biggest we've seen in weeks, and SRG completely takes it all away. Now the control has slipped away from MV. It's SRG's time to take the wheel.
Yep, Sakai's has been power farming while he was getting harassed. That's why you see a lot of these neutral objectives be dragged out. He's already on his 4th item with an endless battle, complete 14 minutes into the game with a BOD as his 3rd. We see that Innocent getting to his final last few items of his build as well. Let's look at this fight one more time, right? Because if we look at where the split is, this whole time Nova X Kobar could not leave the side of his team members because he popped Revitalize too early. That's why we see the GOA come down on the RWM really late into the fight.
You even got knocked out by the Lord, right? So that's even more unfortunate. Didn't have that empower ability to prevent that crowd control. I mean, throughout all of that, SRG right now will be looking to crack some structures. Monster Vicious should be able to clean them up, but SRG, when thinking about it for a while, decides to back off, get rid of all the outer tier turrets, and now they have that sizable gold lead.
And I think it's a fair decision from SRG. They just took back the gold lead, and if they look at the total gold, yes, they are in the lead, but they've already passed the 42k mark. And when we pass the 42k mark, we know that at the very least, that when we look at specifically the marksman and as well as the jungler, most of the time they should be very close to their full builds, or at the minimum, have all 3 of their core items, which both sides have already.
We need some readjustment from the side of MV, especially when Ruff does not have the Purify. You gotta be careful about all these dives. Cram is threatening it, but Guys is not gonna wait. He's gonna draw attention away from Ruff and Uni, and Tempest of Blaze gets killed. Guys gets out of that, and that battle like completely split into 2. Pure Destruction blocked by Nova Escobar, but it cannot get close to Innocent. It's Innocent now traps himself in the pit, but Duyo does end up going down. Ruff tags him with a Chrono Dash, and SRG might have bit him up more than they could chew, losing 3 in the process. Sakai's desperately wants to get a structure in that mid-wave. Zeno will try to clear it out as fast as possible, and I think he should be able to do that in time. Sakai's cannot get it done, and now has to run away from RTG that flicked after him, but Sakai slips to safety.
He's still running. He wants more, and he'll be able to heal off the wave. This is why Haas Claw is a great item for Sakai, as he finishes his 5th item this game.
A turnaround for MV. That really puts SRG on edge. The idea was great. Cram and Sakai split Ruff and Uni away from the rest of the team, but apparently the remaining 3 members were enough to take down Innocent.
Let's look at the instant replay one more time of how this fight eventually progressed, right? Because you can see that there's a lot of sacrifice coming out of SRG in hopes that Sakai's could get mid-inhibitor here. And honestly, he got very, very close to do so. But it's incredible, right? The fact is, Sakai's, he's got some really, really fast hands here. And he was not only able to dodge the Gatot GOA on the frame he was coming down, but also is able to dodge the Lantern from Zushin.
Alright, third Lord fight. This one could be the game ender. Monster Vicious once more takes control of the objective. Cram does not have Flicker to go for the backline dive, so SRG better be a lot more careful. Glorious Pathway drop down. Uni has already claimed the Lord, but they gotta get out of this fight because Martizi will be sacrificed. Zeno has a 2-man penalty zone, but Innocent jumps out of it. And the front to back from SRG looking flawless so far. Ruff cannot get enough damage in, and Sakai even takes down Escobar. Uni rejoins the fight, but he just does not have the output to stand, and Innocent takes out Ruff all on his own.
Another turnaround by SRG once more. Oh, dude, if Uni landed that Blade Surge, maybe there was an opportunity to find more kills, but that's going to be the end game here. One mistake is all it takes for a team like this. We're on the way to kick off the final week of MPL.